Hello and welcome to Mindscapes, a series of conversations with men and women whose ideas, vision and philosophy define our contemporary world. My guest today has been described as a social architect whose life and work has impacted hundreds of thousands of grape farmers in Maharashtra. He's made unique and singular contributions in demystifying science and taking it to its people. Ordinarily, the lead-in to our program recounts the achievements, the credit, the recognition that our guests may have received from institutions of state or public organizations. But here, the testament and the tribute to our guest comes from the millions of lives he has impacted. I'm delighted to welcome Professor T.A. Dabholkar. What has been the essential strategy, the essential approach that you have brought to your revolution of demystifying science and making scientific knowledge available in concrete, tangible ways in a manner that is different and unique to what state-run institutions or your average run-of-the-mill NGO is able to do? What has been the essence of your philosophy here?
I'm very happy you have taken the right perspective of Prayog Pariwar. The name it is Prayog and the other is Parivar. So whosoever wants to do any experiment in life can do it with the help of science. Prayog means going ahead with the help of science. So if you are ready to say that I'm old man, now I'm old of 77, I say why should not look like 55? Are there any Prayoga? So it is not only related to agriculture. In all areas of life I have worked. Child rearing, old age, then marriage problems, sex problems, and I have all these venture nets with me.
So what is the essential philosophy?
So the essential condition was that I have found out the best of science that is lying idle in the laboratories or with the experts only, medical science, MDs, and why it should not be taken to the last man? And from where the prosperity comes, only these, whenever science progress, your prosperity change. So in the last 50 years, science has shown so far, so your prosperity has increased. So the real crust of getting prosperity is through science and no other method. Now where is science? Science is with the experts. Then if I take it to the last man, he will be a scientist and he will do whatever you want as a prosperous life there. Why not? And that confidence I got only because of my success with the grape growers.
Tell us about, briefly, the story of your success with the grape growers. You have achieved turnovers in excess of several hundred crores in this area.
Yeah.
What was the essential strategy?
So the central strategy was, it was a very, I may say, spontaneous happening. It was not any planned program like that. I was doing some of my experiments in grapes in my backyard as it was my hobby. And I found that after planting a grape cutting, which was not available in Maharashtra at that time because the grape cuttings were burned by the big farmers in grapes, thinking that this will encourage them. So I found out that within 1.5 years, I got more than 200 bunches on my grapes without knowing me anything of grapes, by looking at the grapes and speaking with the grapes in scientific terms. So that news spread. And that news spread that once somebody has brought so much of grapes and grapes like that. So the factory that was there, sugar factory, Bidri, thought that they could have the grapes in their field. So they invited me. And by the time they invited an expert in grape, Manilal Mehta. So Manilal Mehta had done good experiments on grapes and I came there. So he thought that he has only planted 2 vines and he is called here to guide them. Let me test him. So he put for the challenge. How you will cut the grape vine. I knew that generally in all books said it is the 5th or the 6th node that I should can, then alone you will get crop. But I said, no, I can cut it anywhere. I knew that he was just teasing me. So I just also, so he got excited. He said, it is impossible, it is never published. I said, come and see in my garden.
So this was you evolved a technique.
Now, which was on my own study,
yes,
innovation.
But I think your greater achievement, more than finding the technique, was how you were able to make this accessible and how this was replicated and spread so rapidly amongst the community.
That is what I am telling you. The funny thing was that He said that I want to see your grapes. So he came to me and I said that if these conditions are fulfilled, at every node you will get good grape bunches. He said, no, I am a scientist. I will take a random sample. 2 vines will not do. And I have a new plantation at Tasgao with my friends, with my relatives' friends, and I will test it this year. And in October, he took the photos and he said, oh, whatever you are saying is correct. Nowhere it is published, and you have discovered it. So the farmers there were surprised that someone sitting in a corner, sitting in a small corner, saying that you will have grapes at this bunch, at this. So there is a great strength of science. And I had the word Prayog Pariwar. As soon as I got that word, I became invincible. I say, I have done this as an experiment. If you want to disprove it, prove it as an experiment. This is the thing with the principles of science we have done. So you can disprove me saying that you should not ask whether I am SSC or whether I am MSc, whether I am horticulture graduate, and I am Parivar. We have done, so many of us. So contradict us. I have mass effect. So when these two things come, nobody can now stop me. So I can give the right to each person saying that I am Prayog Parivari. I am doing it on my own. You will have to contradict, not saying that it is published in the book or the government says like this. It is our result, your result and our result will be taken for testing. That created a new confidence in me and my grape growers. And immediately my practices were taken by them and they spread. But one more important point that I have to stress it here. They now call me Grape Mauli, and all 600 crore rupees worth transformation is there, they assigned to me. But really speaking, they know better grapes than myself because they have acres of land plantation. And I have never planted more than 2 or 3 grapes. But I studied with them the best of the scientific papers published by universities of California and Australia and Israel and other things. Our farmers, though illiterate, have libraries worth 1 lakh rupees of the best of grapes growers. And they say, we know that word pruning, this is pruning, and we know this craft. We know, they can read it between the lines. So knowledge is not so screened that you have to dilute it and saying that now we will teach you like the 4th standard student. Why? They are the IQ of the postgraduate level. And they have the IQ, they become prime minister also by standing for an election. And you say, oh, you cannot know it, so we will teach you how to give the fertilizers and other things.
So there is this interface that through the application of the scientific principle, you were able to expand the turnover of the grape growers to 600 crore rupees plus.
No, there is one more point that I have to say. I had not copied any of the scientific knowledge in any book because it is not useful in India. In foreign countries, when you plant a grape, you get first good crop in the 3rd year. We take it in the very 1st year. We had to resolve that plier. That is venture we had studied. Why not in 1st year? Why not for every bunch? Why not with less water? So all those why not is the scientific spirit that I took to the people. So they come with the question, why not? How? When? Not, please give us a package. Never. And I explain, this is why not. You take this and you will get the result. And they get the result. That we call techniracies. Knowledge that is there in the best of the books is simplified in their terms called idioms. I will give the illustration so it will be very, very clear to you. They came to me when I had the interactions with me. Now we want to make a new plantation. How we should plan the whole plan. What should be the distance, etc. I will say, I will discuss with you. And I have given the discussion in many, many books also, and in that book also. I said, now, from where you get the grapes? And they are confused, really speaking. So they began to talk anything. I said, just bring some grape canes and the leaves there, and let us burn them. And I burned them. And he said, where from that light has come? Then they began to think, where from that light has come? Then I said, it has from the sun. Oh! They said, the cane has come from the sun and from the smoke and not from the soil. That simple experiment of demystifying science, making the best of the thing known in their terms. And what remained? Nothing of this small ash. That is what you have to give through the soils. So they got so confident. No question of fertilizers. They said that whatever will be burnt and the ash, or the 2 or 3/4 ash or composted, is our soil. So at one time they were giving 6,000 rupees worth fertilizers to grape. Now they say no needs are there because we are selling only seeds, not berries, which contain only water and sugar. So nothing is taken out of our soil.
Mr. Dabholkar, this has been an experiment where you have successfully inculcated a scientific spirit and a scientific approach in the community of farmers through actually having them engage themselves in the processes and the wonders and the possibilities of science in the grassroots. Right. You have suggested that there is an alienation between science in the laboratory and science amongst the people. Now, what do you feel are the mechanisms that science in the laboratory can use to learn from the processes and the insights that your demystified science from the people is generating?
I have proved that the best of the science of the research level and the postgraduate level can be easily taken to the last man in his idioms and in his terms. And that I have proved in so many of my experiments with poultry, with goats, with 10 gunta ensemble that I will speak later, sun ensemble. So that thing is possible, I have seen. But what happens is that when I take the knowledge to them, I say stop here, no technology is to be taken from them. Technology should be ours. So we change the science into our technical literacy. When that technical literacy comes, they are free. They said in the neighborhood, we can create our fertilizers. In the neighborhood, we can build a growth rate. We can neighborhood. No technology. So science has two parts. One is science and the other is technology. Technology is made in the laboratories. Whatever pure science is there in the laboratory is our need. No technology is needed. Give the science, and we have enough of empirical brains through which we build up our technology, which is fitting to our new life situation. And that I very many times insist that Gandhiji was not against science. He was against the technologies that the last man cannot have. And that is possible in the 20th century, 21st century beginning, because of this chip and because of these energy saving devices that have now come up because in front of us.
The other thing,
so our technologies can be built up from our own soil now. That is what I say.
I think the other sort of great achievement, and I think Arun Shourie described it in an article, is the internet of the postcard.
Yeah.
That not only have you been able to achieve this application and
only for a small
science,
group,
but you have been able to ensure its multiplier effect, that this knowledge and this technique has been very rapidly disseminated amongst a large number of people. Yeah. So what strategies have you employed, have you evolved?
Really speaking, that strategy I later deciphered. When it evolved, I was evolving it with my own mind. And the thing, now I can codify it. This happened, so this happened. So I said that if you have knowledge which you can hand over to the people, saying that without water also you can get good grapes, with water also can get, in monsoon zone can. So in your real life situation, there is an answer through science to change the if you take a calculated risk to change yourself and build prosperity.
But how have you managed to disseminate?
That's what we call, so that's what we call venture. So I say here is a venture. Without water, grapes are there. There is 100% promise. Without having, you can have a goat rearing without having so much of mash from the market. You can have good poultry on one papaya only, don't worry. You can have poultry, don't be thinking of mash, and you can have your eggs there. So within their resources, I showed them that their the best of science can assert as a new technique, and they can have their new technology. So this voice spreads from mouth to mouth. So they come seeking. You say that there is a promise. Then I say there is a promise, but what risk you are going to take? We call it equity share. What is your equity share with this promise? And they decide the equity share that we will do this experiment. It is not cash. It is goodwill created, it is interaction, the risk taken, and so all these things are what we call. So equity share of Arun Shourie interacted with you, and now I have the equity share of this program. So all these equity shares are not cash. They are really lying idle. So when I begin like this, it's the people on themselves go it like sick. Because I used to say, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to say, you keep on blooming and the smell will spread and people will grow. The knowledge has such a great power that no, like gravity, nobody can screen it with all royalty rights. So knowledge can spread on its own, it has its own wings, from mouth to mouth. The success is its background, and as soon as I give success within their resources, it triggers. And then only a small help is needed, that is postcard. That is what now I am trying to build up also in IT. People are after me saying that why you are not using internet technology. I said I don't think that is necessary. But as you are now keeping it in the schools, perhaps I will be happy to use it. At one time I used postcard. But our methods will be entirely different than the softwares we have built for the multinationals. And that we are trying in the next 2 or 3 years.
What are the sort of the next steps for you after the phenomenal success of the application of these principles to grape growers? You have demonstrated a whole set of larger principles. Where does your aspiration, your life, your ideals take you next?
No,
into the information technology?
I am telling you, and that's what I was discussing before we started this discussion. I said that whenever I was with the people, the thing was that Baba Amte said that, Ivan Illich said that, and even that Paulo Freire said that we are trying to de-school society. People can come and say we want this knowledge and we want to give it, and he can learn it to postgraduate level. That you are done. We want to declass knowledge. Whatever knowledge the best of the scientist has, the scientist should sit with the people and say, I am as if you are. And I will see with you that I will do the same thing that you want to do within your limits. Then the scientist and the laboratory distance goes. Otherwise, he says that in the laboratory, I know, you become a last one, you declass yourself. And when these two things happen, people begin to teach, they deprofessionalize, no teaching is needed. They tutor each other. So the process of demystification, declassing and deprofessionalization has made me a social scientist in education. And I say that we have evolved a new sociology of science and education where the words technocracies, ventures, demystification, deprofessionalization, deschooling and declassing are our watchwords. He is not deschooled, I will say. He is not declassified. So you know where the student is not helped. So that is the internet. Here we will need the internet or the postcards. That is what it is. But the thing was that when I was in foreign countries, I had to have some internal. I was in Sri Mauni Vidyapith, and it has a very good rural institute where it had the motto, education through development, and development, it was established by J.P. Naik, and he was the brain behind it. And the whole experiment failed before my very eyes. And I again began to reflect, why the government, it was run by the Minister of Education, New Delhi. And ultimately there was a murder. And in that murder, I was to become the staff member's president, first among equal. I had to lead a battle for 3 years.
So, was this a physical murder?
Yes, physical murder of the student.
Murdered?
Yes, physical murder of the student on the bright night on the that's the campus. J.P. Naik was in Delhi. He was ousted from the trusteeship. And I fought the battle with the people and with the. There also I knew that whatever I was doing in the grapes is also applicable in social change. We succeeded after 1,000 days, 3 years, with 10,000 techniques which Gandhiji would have used. And we got the whole thing changed as per our desire. There I got one new sense. I was in Germany when I was asked, what is the role Prayog Pariwar will say, when I was just to come back. The whole international group was there. It was a night meeting, and the Vice Chancellor and Paulo Freire was there. I said that I have one message to say. Be a tramp in the field of knowledge, science and venture. Each one should say, I am a professor. But there is other branches of knowledge where I can be a tramp. I will be a medical scientist. I will be engineer. Why you say that I am an engineer, so I don't want to know it? So be a tramp in the field of knowledge, science and venture. So when I returned back in 1979, I resigned. People said, oh, you will have so much of a pension. Now the government is going to, I would have got 10,000 rupees of pension. if I had remained there. But I said that my urge is that I should resign, so I should resign. I'm living with my urge, not with the and I never joined the institutions also. I was in the institution because J.P. Naik said that you see and see whether you like it or not. So it was not that I had joined it. J.P. Naik said that your experiments and our experiments are the same. So let us see whether it is like that. So then I moved among the farmers. When I was free, the farmers came that you are free. So why don't you come to this? I said, all right. Then they asked me what we should pay you. I said, suppose I would have been occupation and other things. What I would have earned, they calculated and they said, your earning per day should be at that time 1,000 rupees. It is because you have sacrificed for us. So we must help you. So that is, people have the sense to equate you, to equalize you, to find the equity share. Now they give me 3,000 in the ratio. But I again say that money is yours. So again we shall invest it. So a new type of circulation of money, energy, giving credits came up when I resigned. And when I was moving with the farmers all over Maharashtra, nearly 20,000, one time at one end and the other time with ST. And then they said, why ST? You take the car, we will pay the car charges. Each visit will be. So they arrange it from within. I never went to a bank, I never have an institution. Prayog Pariwar is a non-institutional network of whosoever wants to do some venture. Then here I will just go one more point. And then when I was with the farmers, I found that monoculture will not change rural conditions. Grapes have created 6 employment per acre. But the condition of the rural situation is without roads, without electricity, without education, without water, without health. Is there a solution for that? And one bright, it was I say eureka, not only bright night or bright day. It was an eureka that I found that there is an answer everywhere. There is electricity everywhere. There is decentralized industry everywhere. There is prosperity everywhere. There is equity. Because nature has done it with its own hand before man entered in the scheme. From nothing it has brought this whole ecosystem, such a complex and bewitching. Why not go to nature and ask how you have done it? So I got a new idea that I call nature's eco-culture. So I have a very good jump now. I say whatever nature has done in tundra, in deserts, we can imitate because latest science in the last 20 years has deciphered it. Gandhi never knew what was photosynthesis was known in 36. So how we can know what are the ratios of other things? Or all biochemistry is known only in 20 years. So if we take this to the people and say this is nature how it has done, you will see that in a very small place there is abundance and abundance. And that is my way of looking at it. If you will give me some time, 5 or 6 minutes, I will explain the whole scheme and you will see there is abundance everywhere.
I'm afraid you have such a reservoir of insight and knowledge that we don't have those additional minutes with sort of the television clock ticking away.
Yes, yes.
But let me just sort of put a brief final question to you that, you have talked about this inherent knowledge, this inherent potential that's residual in nature, that is residual with the people, and there's wonderful synergy that comes from the interface of the two. But the question really is that innate potential of the environment is being damaged and destroyed, so its ability to renew itself is being lost. The people in some ways, with the globalization of culture, are losing the access to their traditional wisdom and their traditional insights, which in some ways have been the bedrock of your own strategies and your plans.
Not at all. You are on the wrong line. I am taking the latest of the best of the science, no tradition. Yesterday's knowledge is my knowledge. I can catch it without going to the universities. I can change it in my technocracy. I can mobilize it to my place. And eco-culture has shown that was what the World Bank expert, Gary Garriott, had come in India. And he was for technical aid. Then somebody in Bombay thought that he never needs a technical aid. He is a person who said that we have all our technical services. So he said that I want to see him. So he came to Pune. I said I will come 2 steps where you come to. Then he was having a 3 hours discussion with me. Then he gave me a note that was published in Washington on some other paper. In 2020, the third world is to die. That was there. That note is with me. And it was said that because of our polyhouse culture, And because of other things, garden fresh and pond fresh and oven fresh things will be available. So we will go for that cold storage. But he said, after hearing you, now I find, in nature's scheme, if you build a rainforest at every 0 point, in the way nature built it, and I prove it, we can build it in 3 years on wasteland with the inner neighborhood resources. We are having wasteful economy where we are not returning that polyhouse energy. And here is accumulative, because at the top level you are having some energy, lesser layer, and that multi-tier system, if you are going to build up, you are really superior than what we were thinking we had done, and you will survive, and that wasteful economy will kill me. The same thing happened when I was asked by consulate, Israel consulate, to come and to share some occasion when our farmers were going to there. I said, what is Israel? Israel is best of science, one thing. I said in my mind, it is all dollars coming from outside, that is Israel. But best of science and use of water to the last drop. And if we take this to the last village, every village is a mini Israel. That was my talk. So use of drop, use of best of knowledge by the last man creates a wealth. I just say ecological wealth in one tier system is 1 ton of dry matter with very little of water, which is 1,000 liters of water which a family needs. So we have a new thinking that we are now spreading. 10 guntham is 1,000 meters square sun ensemble venture on 1,000 liters of water entitlement. Entitlement of sunlight, 1,000 square meter. Entitlement of 1,000 liters of daily water. All water projects will be returned back in energy terms, not in money terms. Whatever diesel has given the energy, will give it in alcohol. So that will be done. And best of the knowledge. So it will be glocalization and not globalization.
Mr. Dabholkar.
Glocalization, bringing the best of global knowledge to the local people. So glocalization is to defeat globalization. That is
Mr.
what I am
Dabholkar,
thinking.
I'm sorry television hasn't enough time.
But
But
we
thank you.